The bridge of the Confederation's 17th Conquest Fleet's flagship, Oblivion Ascendant, buzzed with activity. Captain Zyr Nagrel, a veteran with more tentacles than patience, turned his many eyes towards Admiral Kalon Exor. The Admiral's scaly face was a mask of grim determination as he announced their mission. "We are to launch an invasion of Earth," Exor declared, his voice booming through the chamber. "The High Council has deemed it necessary for the survival of the Confederation." For a moment, there was silence. Then, Zyr's tentacles quivered, and he let out a burst of laughter, a cacophony of clicks and whistles that reverberated around the bridge. "Earth? The mudball in the Sol system? Admiral, have you been sampling Gorgle wine again?" Zyr finally managed, his rows of needle-like teeth gleaming in a sardonic grin. Exor's eyes narrowed, his scaled skin flushing an angry purple. "Enough, Captain. Earth is a pre-FTL civilization with no energy shields, no fleet worth mentioning, and no plausible defense. The High Council has identified it as easy prey." Zyr's laughter abruptly stopped. He leaned back in his command chair, waving a tentacle dismissively. "Admiral, let me share a little story. 200 galactic cycles ago, the Drex Empire tried the same thing. Sent a fleet to Earth. Do you know what happened?" The Admiral frowned. "No. What?" "They vanished," Zyr said simply, his tone now grim. "No survivors. No distress signals. Just gone." The bridge crew fell silent. Zyr activated a hologram in the center of the room, displaying the pale blue dot of Earth. "The humans are unpredictable. Dangerous. They turn their weaknesses into strengths. Energy weapons fail? They'll throw rocks faster than light. No shields? They'll strap rockets to whatever they can find and ram you." Exor scoffed, but unease flickered in his eyes. "Surely this is exaggeration." "Is it?" Zyr asked, his tentacles undulating. He called up a classified file, and horrific images of humanity's creative brutality filled the room. Images of crude kinetic weapons tearing through advanced Drex ships, Drex captives being used as psychological pawns. And finally, humans eating Drex corpses, clad in armor adorned with their enemies' bones. "They didn't just win," Zyr growled. "They made it personal." The Admiral paled to a sickly green hue. "But they're primitive. Surely they can't pose a threat now?" Zyr sighed, toggling to a new file. It showed Earth's exponential advancements: nuclear power, artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and, most disturbingly, their entertainment media, films, games, and books depicting alien invasions, each more brutal than the last. "They've been preparing for us," Zyr said. "Not with weapons, but with ideas. Psychological warfare, propaganda, and worst of all, they'll welcome us with open arms, learn everything about us, and then destroy us from within." Admiral Exor sat down heavily, his claws scraping the console. "What do you propose, then?" "We can't ignore the High Council." Zyr's grin returned, sly and conspiratorial. "Simple. We surrender. Show up with our fleet, declare their superiority, and humbly beg for mercy. Let them think they've won before they've fired a shot." Exor stared, aghast. "Surrender? To primitives?" "They're not primitives," Zyr hissed. "They're predators who've outsmarted every challenge. We play the long game. Observe them, learn from them, and survive." Reluctantly, Exor nodded. Set course for the Sol system. As the Oblivion Ascendant emerged from hyperspace near Earth, the crew's tension was palpable. The blue-green planet loomed on the view screen, deceptively serene. Then, the communications officer gasped. "Captain, they're broadcasting." "Broadcasting what?" Zyr demanded. The bridge filled with a cacophony of sounds and images. News reports, sitcoms, dramatic speeches, cat videos, and something called reality TV. Among the noise, one message repeated in galactic standard. "Attention, visitors from beyond the stars. Welcome to Earth. Please proceed to the designated landing zones and, oh, don't eat anything a Floridian offers you." The crew exchanged bewildered glances. Zyr, however, started laughing. "They know we're here. They've been waiting." Before Exor could respond, a new transmission appeared. A human face filled the screen, a smiling woman in a sleek suit. "Greetings, galactic visitors. I'm Dr. Elena Rodriguez, Earth's ambassador for extraterrestrial relations. We've prepared accommodations tailored to your needs. Please, come down and join us. We're thrilled to meet you." Her smile widened, showing teeth. Too many teeth. On the surface, the Confederation fleet landed in what humans called New York City. Crowds gathered, waving banners and wearing shirts with slogans like, "I for one welcome our alien overlords," and "Earth, closed for renovations." Dr. Rodriguez greeted the alien delegation with a handshake, much to Zyr's confusion. "Shake it," Xer whispered. Awkwardly, Zyr wrapped a tentacle around her hand. She smiled even wider. "Welcome. We've been monitoring your transmissions for decades. Your captain's logs are delightful." "They heard those," Zyr muttered, his chromatophores flushing in embarrassment. As they were led to a high-tech exhibition, Zyr marveled at Earth's advancements. They had cracked FTL travel, perfected zero-point energy, and even dabbled in dimensional manipulation. "How?" Xor blurted. "You were pre-FTL." Dr. Rodriguez chuckled. "Oh, that? We kept our advancements quiet. Better to surprise visitors." Zyr stopped before a holographic display of Earth's history. The Drex invasion was there, documented in horrifying detail. "You knew they were coming," he murmured. "Of course," Rodriguez said cheerfully. "We study everything. And now, you're here. How exciting." Back aboard the Oblivion Ascendant, Zyr addressed his crew. "Humans aren't primitives. They're predators who smile while sharpening their blades. They've outmaneuvered us at every turn." "But Captain," Xor protested, "what do we do now?" Zyr sighed. "We adapt, just like them." As Earth and the Confederation began their cultural exchange, it became clear who was truly in control. Humanity's charm masked a relentless drive to learn, to innovate, and to dominate. Zyr's final report to the High Council was brief. "Earth is no longer a target. It is the future. Adapt or be left behind." The Confederation would survive, but only as a junior partner in humanity's growing empire. And somewhere in the depths of the galaxy, other civilizations began whispering in fear. Captain Zyr Nagrel watched from the bridge of the Oblivion Ascendant as Earth's surface bustled below. The humans had been welcoming, alarmingly so. Delegates were treated like royalty, with feasts, displays of technology, and endless promises of peaceful cooperation. But to Zyr, the warmth in their smiles felt like the edge of a blade. Admiral Kalon Xor paced nervously beside him, his claws clicking on the polished floor. "Captain, this hospitality is a facade. They're hiding something. I can feel it." Zyr chuckled dryly. "Oh, they're not hiding anything, Admiral. That's what makes them so dangerous. Everything they've shown us, every invention, every achievement, it's all real. They want us to know how far ahead they are." Before Xor could respond, a transmission pinged on their console. Dr. Rodriguez's face appeared, her ever-present smile stretching wider. "Captain Nagrel, we're preparing a demonstration of our most recent advances. The High Council members on your fleet are welcome to join." "What kind of demonstration?" Zyr asked cautiously. "A live-fire exercise," Rodriguez replied, her tone unnervingly cheerful. "Nothing too serious. We'll just show you what happens when someone gets unfriendly with Earth." The line went dead before Zyr could protest. "Admiral," he said after a moment, "I suggest we bring popcorn. This will be enlightening." The delegation was escorted to a sprawling desert facility humans called Nevada. A fleet of alien dignitaries and officers assembled in the observation deck, their faces marked by curiosity and unease. Below them, sleek human craft hovered over the sands, compact, angular machines bristling with weapons. Rodriguez stood before the crowd, her smile unwavering. "Ladies, gentlemen, and esteemed guests of unknown gender classifications, today we demonstrate Earth's defensive capabilities. Let's start with a basic scenario. An invading fleet." She gestured, and a holographic projection of an alien armada appeared over the sands. It was a Confederation simulation, nearly identical to the Oblivion Ascendant's own fleet. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. One of the human craft, which Rodriguez called a prototype, shot forward. It unleashed a salvo of projectiles, kinetic slugs, Zyr recognized, but their trajectory shifted midair. Magnetic manipulation, Rodriguez explained, as the slugs tore through the holographic fleet like paper. Simple, efficient. We can also scale the power. She pressed a button, and a beam of light erupted from the craft, splitting the simulated flagship in two. The alien dignitaries flinched. And for more creative approaches, Rodriguez continued, a smaller human drone deployed what looked like a shimmering sphere. Moments later, it expanded, consuming the projection and vanishing with it. Localized gravitational collapse, Rodriguez said breezily. Not the kind you'd want to be caught in, I assure you. The room erupted in whispers. Admiral Exor leaned towards Zyr, his voice trembling. They're showing us their strongest weapons? No, Zyr said, his tone grim. They're showing us their toys. After the demonstration, Zyr and Exor found themselves in a private audience with Dr. Rodriguez. She poured them glasses of a bubbling, luminescent liquid. A toast, she said, raising her glass. To new partnerships. Zyr hesitated before taking a sip. The drink burned, but not unpleasantly. Doctor, he said, why show us this? You could have kept your defenses a secret. Rodriguez's smile faltered, replaced by something colder, more calculating. Because secrets breed distrust. We're not here to intimidate you, Captain. We're here to ensure you understand the stakes. She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a near whisper. You've seen what we can do. Now imagine what we could achieve if we work together. No more petty squabbles. No more fragmented alliances. One unified galaxy. Zyr's tentacles tightened around his chair. Under your control, of course. Rodriguez laughed softly. Control? No. Influence, perhaps. Guidance. Think of it as collaboration. The word hung in the air, deceptively light. Days later, the High Council of the Confederation convened aboard the Oblivion Ascendant. They debated Earth's overtures late into the cycle, their voices overlapping in frustration. This is madness, one counselor hissed, her eye stalks quivering. They're too powerful. If we submit, we lose everything. And if we resist? Zyr countered. We'll be annihilated. Or worse, they'll study us. The counselors fell silent. Humans don't conquer, Zyr continued. They seduce. They integrate. They'll make us think this was all our idea while they rebuild the galaxy in their image. Resistance isn't futile. It's irrelevant. Admiral Exor stood. So we become their allies? Their puppets? No, Zyr said, his voice firm. We learn. We adapt. And maybe, just maybe, we survive. Weeks passed, and Earth's influence spread like wildfire. Humans offered Confederation worlds access to their technology, free of charge. New energy sources, medical advancements, and agricultural solutions transformed planetary systems overnight. But there was a cost. The humans didn't demand territory or tribute. Instead, they asked questions. They probed Confederation leaders for information on other civilizations, resource locations, and ancient technologies. Always smiling, always polite. They're mapping the galaxy, Exor muttered one evening in Zyr's quarters. They'll know everything about us before we know anything about them. Zyr nodded, watching a human cultural broadcast on the screen. It was a comedy, a bizarre skit featuring aliens and humans coexisting on a space station. The aliens were buffoonish, the humans clever and resourceful. They're shaping the narrative, Zyr said quietly, and we're letting them. Not everyone in the Confederation was content to welcome Earth's dominance. A secret cabal formed, consisting of species who feared humanity's meteoric rise. They called themselves the Obscura, and their mission was clear. Undermine Earth before it became unstoppable. Their first act of defiance was subtle, intercepting human transmissions and leaking classified data. But as their influence grew, so did their ambition. One member, a Rylac engineer, suggested sabotaging Earth's technology demonstrations. We plant a flaw, something small, but catastrophic. Let them fall under their own hubris. Zyr learned of the Obscura's existence through an intercepted communique. He confronted Admiral Exor, who had ties to the group. "You fool," Zyr snapped. "If they catch wind of this—" "They won't," Exor interrupted. "And if they do, we'll blame it on rogue elements. We have to fight back, Captain, before it's too late." Zyr stared at him, torn between loyalty to the Confederation and the cold, undeniable truth. There was no winning against Earth. Humans had just begun rewriting the rules of galactic civilization, and the Confederation was left grappling with an impossible choice: resistance or assimilation. But humanity's most terrifying weapon wasn't their technology or strategy. It was their ability to turn enemies into allies, to make the galaxy believe in their vision of the future. And Zyr feared that, by the time the Confederation realized it, the future would already belong to Earth. Deep within the gaseous storms of Polera 9, a hidden base hummed with activity. The Obscura had gathered here, safe from Earth's probing eyes, or so they thought. Representatives from dozens of species argued in heated tones, their shadows flickering against the metallic walls. "Earth is manipulating us," snarled Varric, a burly Krashkin with glowing crimson eyes. His claws left deep gouges on the conference table as he spoke. "They've infiltrated our systems, twisted our governments, and turned our people into pawns." "Calm yourself, Varric," said Litha, Rylac engineer with soft golden feathers. Her voice was soothing, but her words carried weight. "Passion won't help us here. We need strategy, subtlety. The humans thrive on chaos. If we strike, it must be precise." The gathered leaders murmured in agreement. "Our first target should be their communications network," Litha continued, her talons gliding across a holographic display. "Their planetary data relays transmit information to the Confederation. If we disrupt those, we disrupt their influence." Varric growled, but nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but sabotage isn't enough. We need to make them bleed. Show the galaxy they're not invincible." From the shadows, a low voice spoke, silencing the room. "And how do you propose we do that?" All eyes turned to the speaker, Admiral Kalon Exor. His presence in the Obscura was a dangerous gamble, but his insights into Earth's strategies were invaluable. "We strike a critical target," Exor said, stepping into the light. "Earth's pride isn't in its ships or weapons. It's in its people. They've built a network of trust and cooperation with the galaxy. We shatter that trust. Make the galaxy see them as the manipulators they are." "And how do you propose we do that?" Litha asked. Exor's expression hardened. "We expose their secrets, their weaknesses, every dirty deal, every hidden agenda. If they want to shape the galaxy, we make them look unworthy of the mantle." The room erupted into approval. The Obscura had their plan. On Earth, Dr. Elena Rodriguez paced in her office overlooking a bustling, futuristic city. A data pad blinked on her desk, displaying the latest reports on the Confederation's integration. Trade routes had expanded, Confederation species were adopting Earth's technologies, and, most importantly, humanity's cultural dominance was spreading like wildfire. She should have felt triumphant, but something nagged at her. "Rodriguez," came a voice over the intercom. It was General Harris, head of Earth's Defense Command. "We've intercepted some chatter. Confederation dissidents are planning something big." "Dissidents?" Rodriguez asked, though she wasn't surprised. "Calling themselves the Obscura," Harris said. "We don't know the details yet, but they're organized. Dangerous." Rodriguez sighed. "Send me everything you have. We'll need to move carefully. If we overreact, we'll play right into their hands." Moments later, her office door slid open, revealing Captain Zyr Nagrel. He looked exhausted, his chromatophores dim. "Captain," Rodriguez said, gesturing for him to sit, "what brings you here?" Zyr hesitated before speaking. "Doctor, I've heard whispers among my people. There are those who resent your influence. They're organizing." Rodriguez leaned forward, her sharp eyes locking onto his. "Are you saying the Confederation is plotting against us?" "Not the Confederation," Zyr said quietly. "A splinter group. They call themselves the Obscura." Rodriguez's expression remained unreadable. And where do you stand, Captain? Zyr met her gaze. With survival. If humanity succeeds, we all benefit. But if this descent grows unchecked, it could plunge the galaxy into chaos. Rodriguez nodded slowly. Then we'll address this together. Captain, welcome to the team. The Obscura's first strike came swiftly. A critical Earth relay station in the Confederation capital exploded, severing communications across dozens of systems. Panic spread as misinformation filled the void. Confusion reigned, and fingers were quickly pointed at Earth. On board the Oblivion Ascendant, Admiral Exor received a cryptic message from the Obscura. The spark has been lit. Await further instructions. You've gone too far, Zyr said angrily when he confronted Exor. We've done what was necessary, Exor replied coldly. And if the humans retaliate? Exor's expression was grim. Then we ensure they look like aggressors. It's the only way to rally the galaxy against them. Dr. Rodriguez addressed the Confederation High Council via hologram, her expression calm but firm. We grieve the loss caused by this attack, she began, her voice steady. But let me be clear. Earth did not strike first. We remain committed to peace and cooperation. The council murmured, some skeptical, others appeased. As Rodriguez spoke, Zyr observed from the sidelines, impressed by her composure. But he couldn't shake the feeling that Earth's patience had limits. In the shadows, Earth began a covert operation. Intelligence agents, both human and alien allies, were dispatched to infiltrate the Obscura. Their mission: expose the dissidents' plans and turn their own tactics against them. Zyr found himself recruited for the effort. Paired with a human operative named Lieutenant Rena Vale, he ventured into Confederation territory, seeking the heart of the rebellion. Rena was everything Zyr expected from a human: quick-witted, resourceful, and unervingly calm under pressure. Together, they uncovered Obscura plans to sabotage key diplomatic summits, targeting both Earth and its allies. As Rena and Zyr worked to dismantle the Obscura's network, the galaxy teetered on the brink of chaos. Propaganda spread like wildfire, accusing Earth of imperialism and deception. Meanwhile, human forces maintained their restraint, refusing to strike back overtly. It's a chess game, Rena explained during one of their missions. Earth doesn't need to win battles. We just need to show we're not the villains. Zyr wasn't so sure. The galaxy doesn't trust restraint. They'll mistake it for weakness. Then we'll show them our strength, Rena replied with a smirk. The Oblivion Ascendant orbited a distant moon, serving as a covert meeting point between Earth's intelligence operatives and their new allies within the Confederation. Inside the war room, Captain Zyr Nagrel and Lieutenant Rena Vale reviewed intercepted Obscura communiques. These plans are escalating, Rena muttered, scrolling through a projection of encoded files. They're targeting a trade summit on Glaston 4. High-profile delegates from 20 systems. If they succeed, it'll plunge the galaxy into chaos. Zyr's tentacles twitched uneasily. And Earth will take the blame. Rena nodded. Exactly. We need to stop them, and we need to do it quietly. If the Obscura think we're onto them, they'll scatter and regroup. Zyr leaned back, deep in thought. The Confederation is already divided. If this summit fails, they're counting on it, Rena said, and we can't let them win. Disguised as merchants, Zyr and Rena infiltrated the bustling trade summit. The city on Glaston 4 was a sprawling network of towering spires and floating platforms, each packed with representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Rena tapped her earpiece. Earth's assets are in position. You're sure your people can handle this? Zyr sighed. Confidence isn't a trait my species is known for, but we'll manage. Their target was an Obscura cell rumored to be operating out of the lower levels of the city. Reports suggested they were smuggling explosives designed to destabilize the summit platform. As Zyr and Rena descended into the depths, the atmosphere shifted. The vibrant colors and cheerful chatter of the summit gave way to dim lights and wary glances. Perfect place for dissidents, Rena muttered. Zyr's chromatophores darkened in agreement. Let's hope they're as sloppy as they are angry. It didn't take long to locate the Obscura's hideout, an abandoned cargo bay littered with explosives and stolen Confederation tech. But as they moved to disable the devices, a sharp clang echoed behind them. "You're not as clever as you think, Earthling," a voice snarled. The Obscura had anticipated their arrival. Armed with energy rifles and makeshift shields, they surrounded Zyr and Rena. "Careful," Rena whispered, her fingers hovering near her sidearm. Zyr raised a tentacle, signaling for calm. "You don't need to do this," he said, addressing the Obscura leader, a tall, spindly Rylak named Valor. "If you detonate these explosives, you'll only prove humanity's point, that you're willing to destroy everything to resist change." Valor sneered. "Change? This isn't change. It's conquest. Earth has already sunk its claws into the Confederation. This summit is just another step in their plan to dominate us." Rena stepped forward, her voice cool and sharp. "You think humanity wants domination? If we wanted to, we could have crushed your fleets and taken your planets. Instead, we're here, trying to build alliances. You're the ones tearing the galaxy apart." Valor hesitated, his grip on his rifle tightening. Zyr seized the moment. "You think you're fighting for freedom, but you're only ensuring your people suffer. Call off this attack, and we'll make sure your grievances are heard." For a brief moment, it seemed like Valor might listen. Then a shot rang out. The shot didn't come from the Obscura. It came from a sniper hidden in the shadows. Valor collapsed, clutching his chest, as chaos erupted. The Obscura panicked, retreating as Earth's covert forces stormed the cargo bay. "Stand down," Rena shouted, but the Obscura fighters fired back, turning the room into a war zone. Zyr grabbed Rena, pulling her behind a crate. "That shot wasn't one of theirs," he said. "Someone else is here." Rena scanned the area, her eyes narrowing. "Then who?" In the confusion, a figure in a black combat suit slipped through the shadows, planting a device near the explosives. The moment they spotted the figure, it vanished into the chaos. "Sabotage," Rena muttered. "Whoever that is, they're trying to pin this on Earth." The explosives were armed, and the countdown was ticking fast. With no time to chase the saboteur, Zyr and Rena focused on disarming the device. "This tech, it's hybrid," Zyr said, his tentacles deftly working the control panel. "Confederation design, but with human modifications. This isn't Obscura. This is something else." "Focus," Rena snapped, cutting a wire with precision. "We'll figure out who later." The timer hit 10 seconds when Zyr managed to disable the explosives. The room fell silent, save for the distant hum of engines. "Close one," Rena said, catching her breath. Zyr's tentacles drooped. "Too close. Whoever planted that device wanted more than destruction. They wanted war." Back aboard the Oblivion Ascendant, Zyr and Rena reviewed footage from the mission. The figure in the combat suit was untraceable, their identity hidden behind layers of encryption. "They're not Obscura," Rena said, "but they're not one of ours either." Zyr frowned. "Then who?" The answer came from an unlikely source. A coded message arrived on the ship, bearing an ancient insignia Zyr didn't recognize. The message read, "The Obscura are pawns. The real threat lies deeper. Follow the trail to Tenebris Station. Trust no one." "Tenebris Station?" Rena asked, her brow furrowing. "It's a ghost," Zyr said. "A myth. Supposedly a hub for black market tech and shadow operations. If it exists, it's the last place we want to go." "Which means it's exactly where we need to be," Rena replied. Their mission now more uncertain than ever, Zyr and Rena prepared for the journey to Tenebris Station. If the rumors were true, they were about to step into the heart of galactic darkness, a place where laws didn't apply, and the shadows hid more than just secrets. But as they departed, a new question loomed. Who wanted the galaxy to burn, and what was their ultimate goal? The journey to Tenebris Station was a harrowing one. Located on the fringe of Confederation space, its exact coordinates were known only to those with deep ties to the galactic underworld. The Oblivion Ascendant couldn't approach directly, so Captain Zyr Nagrel and Lieutenant Rena Vale boarded a smaller, unmarked ship for the final leg of their journey. "Even the name sounds ominous," Zyr muttered as the station finally came into view. It was a sprawling, jagged construct of mismatched metals floating in the shadow of a dying star. Lights flickered haphazardly across its surface, and dozens of ships hovered like vultures around a carcass. The place reeked of desperation and danger, even from a distance. "Welcome to Tenebris," Rena said, her voice tight. "Keep your tentacles close. Everyone here is out for themselves." Zyr's chromatophores darkened in nervous agreement. The station's interior was a labyrinth of narrow corridors and neon-lit markets. Merchants peddled everything from illegal tech to genetically modified pets. The air was thick with smoke, and the distant hum of machinery was ever present. Their contact was waiting in a dingy bar on the lower levels. A lone figure cloaked in shadow, sitting at a table littered with empty glasses. "You're late," the figure said as they approached, voice modulated by a mask. "Traffic," Rena replied dryly, taking a seat. "Let's skip the pleasantries. What do you know about the sabotage on Glaston 4? The figure leaned forward, revealing a pair of glowing, reptilian eyes. "Plenty, but nothing comes free." Rena slid a credit chip across the table. The figure inspected it briefly before pocketing it. "The Obscura are being played," the figure said. "And so are you." The attack on Glaston 4 wasn't just about destabilizing Earth's influence. It was a message. A warning. "From whom?" Zyr asked. The figure hesitated, glancing around the bar. "There's a group, older than the Confederation, older than Earth's rise. They call themselves the Eternum. They exist in the shadows, manipulating events to maintain control of the galaxy." "Why haven't we heard of them?" Rena demanded. "Because they don't want you to," the figure replied. "The Obscura? They're a distraction. The real threat is the Eternum, and their plan goes far beyond sabotaging a summit." Before Zyr or Rena could ask more, the figure abruptly stood. "If you value your lives, leave this place. The Eternum don't tolerate loose ends." The figure disappeared into the crowd, leaving Zyr and Rena with more questions than answers. Back aboard their ship, Zyr and Rena analyzed the intel they'd gathered. The mention of the Eternum was troubling. If this shadowy organization was as old and powerful as claimed, they'd been operating unnoticed for millennia. "They're playing us all," Rena said, pacing the cramped cabin. "Earth, the Confederation, the Obscura, we're all pawns in their game." "And the sabotage?" Zyr asked. "A warning, like the contact said," Rena replied. "They're testing the waters, seeing how far they can push before we catch on." Zyr's chromatophores pulsed with unease. If the Eternum exist, why reveal themselves now? What's changed? "Humanity," Rena said simply. "Earth is a wild card. We've disrupted their balance of power." As the ship prepared to leave Tenebris Station, its systems suddenly shut down. Lights dimmed, engines powered down, and the air grew eerily still. "We're being jammed," Rena said, checking the controls. Before they could act, a transmission crackled to life. A cold, mechanical voice spoke, devoid of emotion. "Captain Zyr Nagrel, Lieutenant Rena Vale, you've meddled in matters beyond your comprehension. Leave Tenebris now and never return. This is your only warning." The transmission ended, and the ship systems came back online. "They're watching us," Zyr said, his voice barely above a whisper. "They've been watching us since Glaston," Rena replied grimly. "The question is, what do we do now?" Returning to Confederation space, Zyr and Rena briefed Earth's intelligence network on the Eternum. The news sent ripples of unease through their ranks. "This changes everything," Dr. Rodriguez said during a private meeting. Her usual composure was replaced by a rare expression of concern. "If the Eternum are real, they're the ones pulling the strings behind the Obscura, and possibly the Confederation itself. What do we do?" Rena asked. Rodriguez's expression hardened. "We find them. Expose them. The galaxy needs to know who's really in control." As whispers of the Eternum spread, cracks began to form within the Confederation. Some species demanded an investigation, while others dismissed the Eternum as a convenient scapegoat for Earth's rising influence. The High Council was paralyzed, unable to act. Meanwhile, the Obscura seized the opportunity to expand their operations, targeting both Earth and Confederation worlds. For Zyr, the situation was rapidly spiraling out of control. First the Obscura, Now the Eternum, he muttered during a briefing. It's like the galaxy's unraveling. Or being unraveled, Rena said. And we're the ones caught in the middle. As Zyr and Rena worked to uncover the Eternum's true agenda, a shocking event sent the galaxy into chaos. The destruction of an Earth research station on the edge of Confederation space. The Eternum claimed responsibility, releasing a cryptic message. Humanity's ambition threatens the balance. Withdraw, or face annihilation. The attack killed hundreds and shattered Earth's carefully maintained image of restraint. In response, Earth's military mobilized, deploying fleets to key systems. The galaxy will think we're preparing for war, Zyr warned during a tense meeting with Admiral Exor. And maybe we are, Exor replied grimly. The destruction of Earth's research station sent shockwaves through the galaxy. On every planet and in every spaceport, rumors swirled. Humanity was preparing for war. The Confederation, already teetering on the edge of collapse, found itself paralyzed by indecision. Captain Zyr Nagrel sat in the dimly lit war room aboard the Oblivion Ascendant, surrounded by holographic projections of ongoing events. Beside him, Lieutenant Rena Vale looked more focused than ever, though the tension in her shoulders betrayed her unease. The Eternum want this, Zyr said, gesturing to the chaos unfolding on the holograms. They're pushing Earth and the Confederation to the brink. And Earth is playing right into their hands, Rena replied. Our fleets are mobilizing, the media is spinning it as preparation for retaliation, and the galaxy is panicking. Admiral Kalon Exor entered the room, his imposing form casting a long shadow. The High Council has called an emergency session, he announced. They want Earth to de-escalate. Zyr raised a tentacle in exasperation. And what happens when Earth refuses? Humanity isn't known for backing down. Exor's expression darkened. Then the Confederation will fracture completely, and the galaxy will be left vulnerable to the Eternum's true plan, whatever it is. The High Council chamber buzzed with tension as delegates from dozens of species argued over Earth's actions. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood at the center of the room, flanked by Rena and Zyr. Humanity mourns the loss of life on our research station, Rodriguez began, her voice steady but resolute. But let me be clear. Earth did not provoke this attack. The Eternum are a threat to us all, and we must stand united against them. A HFY delegate, a tall, insectoid creature with glittering carapace, clicked angrily. Your fleets are mobilizing across the galaxy. How can you claim peace while preparing for war? Rodriguez's gaze was sharp. We are mobilizing for defense. The Eternum's attack wasn't just against Earth. It was against the very concept of cooperation. They want us to tear each other apart, then disarm. Another delegate demanded. Show the galaxy that humanity doesn't seek conflict. Zyr stepped forward, his chromatophores pulsing with irritation. Disarm? Are you out of your minds? If Earth stands down, the Eternum will see it as weakness. They'll strike again, and this time it won't be a research station. They'll come for your planets. The chamber erupted into chaos, voices overlapping in heated argument. Rodriguez turned to Zyr, her expression grim. This isn't working, she murmured. Rena leaned closer. Then it's time for a different approach. Rodriguez raised her voice, silencing the chamber. Enough. If words won't convince you, then let's settle this another way. Earth proposes a joint mission. A strike team comprised of both Earth and Confederation representatives. Together, we'll find the Eternum and expose their plans to the galaxy. The chamber fell silent. You expect us to work with you? The HFY delegate hissed. Rodriguez's smile was razor-sharp. If we don't, the Eternum wins. So yes, I expect us to work together. Or we can keep shouting at each other while they burn the galaxy down. After a long pause, the council voted. The proposal passed, barely. The strike team was an eclectic mix of Earth's best operatives and Confederation specialists. Among them was Zyr, reluctantly chosen as a representative of his species, and Rena, handpicked by Rodriguez for her tactical expertise. Other members included Thalveric, a hulking Krashkin warrior with unmatched combat skills and a deep mistrust of humans. Lythakir, the Rylak engineer from the Obscura, who had defected after learning of the Eternum's manipulation. Karis Maller, a sly Zarite diplomat with a talent for reading people and extracting secrets. Their mission: infiltrate the Eternum's rumored headquarters on the uncharted world of Calaxis, a planet shrouded in mystery. The strike team's ship, the Vanguard's Reach, slipped through hyperspace, its crew tense but determined. The journey to Calaxis was long, giving the team time to air their grievances. "I still don't trust you," Thal growled at Rena during a training session. "I'm not asking you to," Rena replied, her tone even. "I'm asking you to trust the mission." "Humans always have an angle," Thal shot back. "What's yours?" Rena's expression hardened. "Survival. Same as yours." Zyr, observing from the sidelines, sighed. "This mission will fail if we can't work together. The Eternum is counting on our divisions." "Then let's prove them wrong," Litha said, her voice soft but firm. Calaxis was unlike any world they'd seen. The planet's surface was a labyrinth of ancient ruins, glowing faintly with an eerie green light. The atmosphere crackled with electromagnetic energy, making long-range communication impossible. As the Vanguard's Reach descended, sensors picked up faint energy signatures deep beneath the surface. "Whatever the Eternum is hiding, it's down there," Litha said, her feathers ruffling nervously. The team geared up, their tension palpable. Rena glanced at Zyr, her voice low. "Ready for this?" "No," Zyr admitted. "But that's never stopped me before." Navigating the ruins was treacherous. The air was thick with static, and strange sounds echoed through the corridors. The team encountered remnants of advanced technology, long dormant but still intimidating. "This architecture," Litha murmured, examining a wall etched with intricate patterns. "It predates anything in the Confederation." "Maybe even the Eternum," Zyr added, his tentacles brushing against a faintly glowing console. As they ventured deeper, they encountered resistance. Automated defenses that sprang to life, their weaponry ancient but devastatingly effective. Thal barreled through the defenses with brute strength, while Litha disabled traps with expert precision. But the deeper they went, the more apparent it became that someone, or something, was expecting them. Finally, they reached a massive chamber at the heart of the ruins. A towering construct loomed before them, its surface pulsating with energy. Around it stood figures clad in dark armor, the Eternum's enforcers. "We've got company," Rena said, drawing her weapon. The battle was fierce. Thal fought like a berserker, tearing through enforcers with sheer force. Litha hacked into the construct systems, trying to disable whatever power it held. As the team gained the upper hand, the construct began to glow brighter, emitting a low hum that resonated through the chamber. "It's activating," Litha shouted. "What does it do?" Zyr demanded. "Something bad," she replied. Just as the team disabled the last of the enforcers, the construct emitted a blinding pulse of energy. When the light faded, a holographic figure appeared. A humanoid form cloaked in shadow, its voice cold and commanding. "You think you've won," it said. "You're too late. The galaxy will kneel before the Eternum." The construct began to destabilize, the chamber shaking violently. "Time to go," Rena shouted, pulling Zyr towards the exit. As they fled, the ruins began to collapse, leaving the team with more questions than answers, and the grim realization that the Eternum's plan was far from over. The ruins of Calaxis crumbled behind the strike team as they raced to the surface. Each member was battered and bruised, but the construct's ominous final words lingered in their minds. "The galaxy will kneel before the Eternum." Back aboard the Vanguard's Reach, Captain Zyr Nagrel and Lieutenant Rena Vale pored over the data Litha had managed to extract before the collapse. It was fragmented, but revealed a horrifying truth. The Eternum wasn't merely an organization. It was a system, a hidden network stretching across millennia. The construct was part of an ancient failsafe, designed by a long-extinct species to control the balance of power in the galaxy. The Eternum had inherited this system and used it to manipulate civilizations, ensuring no species rose too far above the others. "They're not just maintaining balance," Rena said, her voice tight. "They're maintaining control." Data revealed the Eternum's endgame. the activation of harmonic protocols. These protocols would unleash a galaxy-wide EMP pulse, disabling advanced technology and plunging every civilization into pre-spaceflight chaos. It's a reset button, Lytha said, horrified. They want to erase everything, reduce the galaxy to ashes so they can rebuild it under their rule. ZYR's chromatophores darkened, and they're using our divisions to distract us while they prepare. Armed with this knowledge, the team returned to the Confederation High Council. Dr. Elena Rodriguez addressed the chamber, her tone resolute. The Eternum's threat is no longer hypothetical, she said. If we do not unite, they will succeed, and our galaxy will fall into chaos. The Council was skeptical at first. Old grudges ran deep, and many species feared humanity's rising influence more than the Eternum. But ZYR stepped forward, his voice steady. I've fought alongside humans. I've seen their flaws, their ambition, but also their determination. If anyone can help us face this threat, it's Earth. And if we don't stand together now, we won't stand at all. One by one, the counselors cast their votes. In a rare moment of unity, the Confederation agreed to join forces with Earth.